Good morning to our participants and welcome to the last session in our four-part webinar series on homeschool team, parental involvement and home-based learning. This is brought to you by the Bicol University College of Education in partnership with the Bicol University Extension Management Division. I am Maria Sheena A. Haushan, a faculty member of the Management and Professional Education Department of the Bicol University College of Education, Daraga-Albay, and I will be your moderator this morning. We will officially start our session with the playing of the Philippine National Anthem, to be followed by an opening prayer.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silangan, anak ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyad ka ng magiging, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisili. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mabaga, may nilagang tulad, awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng matawat mo'y tagumpay na naglilindi. Ang bituin at araw niya, kailan pang mali magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng ating pagsinta, mo'y langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pamay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Almighty, ever-living God, the most merciful and compassionate, we thank you for creation and the life you have given us. Together, we people of diverse religions, spiritual expressions and indigenous traditions, who invoke you by different names, humbly pray for your providence and protection, in the midst of the COVID crisis. Strengthen and guide government leaders, and private agencies, especially our administrators, faculty and staff, for the wisdom to do what is right and just. Enlighten the minds of students, that despite the educational limitations in this new normal, they may study diligently and effectively. Bless our families, remove our fears, and help us to trust in your love, so that by our example and generosity, we can inspire and help others. Grant all of us, especially the frontliners, good health and accept those who have died in your kingdom. Amen.
At this point, we shall be hearing a message from the Dean of the Bicol University College of Education. Please all welcome Dr. Lorna N. Nino.
To our dear President of Bicol University, Dr. Arnolfo Mascareñas, our guest, participants in this webinar, our online viewers from different parts of the country, our friends from other universities, parents, students, good morning. I welcome you to the final episode of our home-based learning. Now, it is almost a year now since most of us, especially the learners, our children, have been confined to our respective homes. And we, the parents and the teachers, have assumed different roles in the education of our children. When asked about the experiences about teaching children at home, most parents usually tell us challenging stories. However, aside from the challenges that most parents talk about, there are also some success stories that can be derived from the experiences. Some of these worthwhile experience from these worthwhile experiences, we can also derive best practices in the teaching of our children at home. And some of this will be shared with us this morning, particularly by people who have experienced home-based learning even before the pandemic. Their expertise that they gained from training and experience will help us look at their experiences and practices and try to see whether we can also gain something that we can apply in our own context. We have invited guests and speakers, guest participants, whose experience will be worth knowing or learning from. So, to our dear participants, thank you for joining us today and for being with us for the last 4 episodes of Home Based Learning. I hope that as a teacher education institution, we have somehow contributed to your wealth of knowledge and insights about home based learning, and will be able to apply some of the practices that we will be sharing with you in the learning of your own children, the children of your peers, and the children of your students. So to everyone, welcome you. Well, I welcome you once again and good morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nina, for your message and for your unwavering support. We are also happy to have with us the president of Bicol University, who will later give his message for the participants and on the occasion of this last episode. Our last session is on the best practices of parents in home-based learning. On behalf of the team from the BU College of Education and BU Extension Management Division, we thank our participants for joining us through our live stream on a number of Facebook pages, including the Bicol University Extension Management Division FB page, Bicol University College of Education FB page, Daraga National High School FB page, and the Bicol University College of Education Integrated Laboratory High School FB page, among others. Also joining us today are two guest participants who will share their expertise and experiences relevant to our topic. Our resource speaker will formally introduce them later. Allow me to remind everyone of the following house rules. First, be on time. For those in the Zoom room, switch off your audio and camera during the entire duration of the session. Second, pay attention. Listen and take down notes while the resource person is speaking. Third, speak up. Please post your comments and questions in the chat or comment box. For those in the Zoom room, use the raised hand icon if you have any question during the Q&A for recognition by the moderator. Fourth, keep your questions brief to manage the time. Similarly, listen intently to your fellow participants when they ask questions to avoid repetition of queries. Fifth, let's keep our webinar a safe and respectful space. And last, please leave us a review. Do not forget to accomplish the evaluation form at the end of the webinar. This is so we can know how to improve and what other topics you want to hear from us. So again, at this point, we are likewise honored to have with us the president of Bicol University to give us his message. Let us all welcome Dr. Arnulfo M. Mascareñas. Sir Nolly, we are sorry, but you are still on mute.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sheena.
Good morning po.
Talagang I'm on the rush, ano?
Yes, sir.
So I just arrived from Legazpi City's landfill facility to join the inauguration of that facility. So thank you for waiting for me. To the Dean of the College of Education, Dr. Lorna, and then to the Associate Dean, the department chairs, to the faculty members of the college, and to all participants to this webinar series. Good morning. First, I'd like to welcome everyone to the fourth and final session of the home-based learning webinar series, which is spearheaded by the College of Education. Today, we're going to put a spotlight on a topic that is rarely covered in education discourse, as we highlight the plight of learners with special education needs in the time of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is imperative to understand that teaching learners with special needs is very different from teaching regular learners. I hope all of you will agree. As such, it requires special attention and the expertise of special education teachers, or what we usually call as SPED teachers. SPED experts have likewise stressed to establish collaboration between parents and SPED teachers and specialists. Friends, today we are going to learn from our experts on how to better cater to the needs of our learners with special education needs. It is my hope that you will be empowered despite the challenges that beset us as we navigate through this global crisis. At this juncture, I would like to commend the College of Education for coming up with this very insightful and timely webinar. This is one of the reasons why we remain a pillar in education in the region, especially in these very crucial and trying times. To the parents, your presence in today's webinar is an affirmation of your commitment to support the developmental needs of your children. Thank you for your unconditional love. And to our SPED teachers, thank you for your patience, passion, creativity, flexibility, and of course, expertise. Thank you for your unconditional commitment and for being an advocate for learners with special education needs. To our learners with special education needs, continue with what you are doing because your hard work will pay off soon. May you have a meaningful day ahead. And once again, good morning to everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mascareñas, for gracing our activity with your presence and for the inspirational and motivational message. It tells us that we are truly on the right track. At this point, I am instructed by our coordinator that we will have a picture taking with you, Sir Nolly, if that would be okay. Thank you, sir. So we will be requesting our technical support staff to assist us in the picture taking. Sir Pop, can you please give me a signal if we are already taking the picture?
Okay, so let me start with the first group on my screen. That's done. I will move to the second. And then, okay, we're done, Ma'am Sheena. Thank you very much, Sir Nolly.
Yes, sir.
Sheena, I have to leave now because
Yes, sir.
I have to attend another webinar. It's the RDC meeting for research.
Yes, sir. We totally
Okay, so
understand.
good luck and wish success.
Thank you very much, sir, again for the
Okay,
unwavering
Lawrence.
support.
Lawrence, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, see you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. So again, as is customary, we opened our pre-registration a few days before the schedule of this webinar. Today, we will again be giving away 100 peso load cards to the first 5 participants who pre-registered. This is courtesy of the BUC Extension Office through our very dynamic Extension Coordinator, Professor Rafael Buenia. Please listen closely as I announce the name of our prepaid load card winners. First, we have John G. Miranda from Daraga National High School, Daraga Albay. Again, that's John G. Miranda from Daraga National High School, Daraga Albay. Second, Maria Isabel M. Vasquez from BU Pulangi Campus, Pulangi Albay. Maria Isabel M. Vasquez from BUPC, Pulangi Albay. Third, we have Seth L. Mascareñas from Daraga National High School, Daraga Albay. Again, Seth L. Mascareñas, Daraga National High School, Daraga Albay. Fourth, we have Ronnie D. Dawat from Community College of Maanito, Maanito Albay. Ronnie D. Dawat from Community College of Manito, Manito Albay. And last but not the least, we have Rio M. Londonio from Daraga Community College, Salvacion, Daraga Albay. Rio M. Londonio from Daraga Community College, Salvacion, Daraga Albay. Congratulations to the winners. Please keep your lines open as Sir Pop will contact you for the load cards. Thank you. Now, at this point, allow me to introduce our resource person. She is a mother to 2 daughters. Zoe, a lovely 12-year-old girl with autism, currently enrolled in the Rawis Elementary School, Legazpi City Division's PED Center, studying through the modular learning modality. And Zane, a sweet 9-year-old grade 3 pupil, currently enrolled at the Albay Central School through the online mode. She is happily married to Joseph Faustino Altavano, a micro-entrepreneur. During her undergraduate studies, she was a DOST scholar. She graduated as cum laude with a bachelor's degree in physics from the Philippine Normal University. She finished the academic requirements for the Master in Education, major in physics degree from UP Diliman. She has also taken units in MA SPED at the Philippine Normal University. She has been teaching in Bicol University, College of Education Integrated Laboratory High School since 1993. She is likewise a K-12 science regional teacher and most importantly, an autism awareness and inclusion advocate. Dear participants and viewers, please welcome Ma'am Karina Rosine Altavano.
Good morning, fellow parents, dear teachers, guardians, and students. On behalf of the proponents of this webinar series on homeschool theme, parental involvement in the home-based learning in the persons of Professor Ruby R. Briones and Professor Rafael B. Duemia, together with the whole home-based learning team, I welcome you all to the fourth and the last session, which bears the title, The Best Practices of Parents in Home-Based Learning. Thank you, Professor Sheena Haushan, for the kind and warm introduction. Indeed, I am most pleased to share with you the beliefs and practices we have as we venture with our children's learning in this time of pandemic. What I am going to disclose in this session are extracts of observances we carry out that which I consider as best as far as our home is concerned. That goes without saying that what works with us may or may not exactly work for all. During the past 3 topics of this webinar series, we indulged ourselves with the richness of principles, theories, and practical guides as discussed by our previous speakers, Ma'am Ruby, Ma'am Verge, and Sir Richard. We are going to capture those codes, ideas, and models in this session in the context of actual situations that would include both our struggles and triumphs in this new normal. This session intends to share practices that were found effective based on my personal experience, to encourage participants and or viewers to participate in asking questions relevant to the topic, as well as to share their insights, and most importantly, to get affirmation and gain more knowledge as our guest participants enrich our discussion. May this session be a beautiful learning experience for all of us so that we become reassured, motivated, and inspired. First, allow me to refresh all of us about what parenting entails. As parents, we have the responsibility of providing our children with basic care, emotional warmth, stimulation, and stability, ensuring their safety, and setting guidelines and boundaries for as long as they are under our care. This may seem very simple, but we all know that parenting is quite a tough task. When we became parents, we were empty handed. Experience made us learn along the way. Not everything is in the books, and the diversity of families makes us come up with our unique set of standards when it comes to our own families. Add to that the present situation that we are all in. Nevertheless, we learn from others' experiences, which provide us with more options in our pursuit for better parenting skills suited to our kids. The practices that I am going to share with you work for our family, or so I believe. The psychology and science behind them, however, are beyond my knowledge. And so, joining our session for today are guest participants who are experts in their respective fields. Their ideas and their experience will definitely enrich our discussion. At this juncture, I will introduce to you our invited guest participants. We are privileged to have with us this morning a licensed occupational therapist, both in the Philippines and the US. She finished her bachelor's degree in occupational therapy from the Emilio Aguinaldo College, or EAC, in Manila, her certificate in special education from the Divine Word College of Legazpi, and recently got her diploma in preschool education from Bicol University. She owns the Sunbeam Therapy and Tutorial Center in Bugtong, Legazpi City, where I witnessed her passion and advocacy in SPED. Friends, let us welcome Teacher Pet Jacinto Reblora. Teacher Pet, would you like to greet our viewers and participants?
Yes, good morning, everybody. Thank you for inviting me for this webinar.
Thank you, Teacher Pet, and thank you for being with us this morning.
Welcome.
Also with us this morning is one of Bicol University's pride from then until now. She was my high school classmate in Bicol University High School, finished her bachelor's degree in education at the Bicol University College of Education, and now she is the Transition Planning Coordinator, Association of Persons with Special Needs, Katong School in Singapore. All the way from Singapore, we are so blessed to have with us the first ever Mutya ng Ibalo, Miss Sara De Castro Sacro. Sai?
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Hello, Madam Beautiful. Thank you for being with us today despite the distance.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a pleasure to be with all of you this morning, Karen.
Yes, welcome home.
Salamat for the invitation. It's an honor.
Yes, we are also honored. And we are honored to have both of you, Teacher Pet and Mom Sai, to be with us in this session. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, considering your busy schedules and your equally important concerns. Okay. So this pandemic is a new and unwelcomed experience for all of us. I remember that last Friday of work when I attended a meeting at the Department of Education regarding the national standardized test that was recently conducted then and those that will be conducted in the week or weeks to come. And then suddenly we were locked down. We may have had the notion that community quarantine was going to happen, but not its abruptness and the vastness of its execution. In a way, we were caught unprepared. Hence, everything that transpired for about a year now was a learning experience for all of us. Even in the confines of our abodes, we have gained new concepts and discovered new skills. We also got to know the members of our households better. Even so, parenting in the new normal remained challenging, if not became more demanding, especially when school year 2020 to 2021 started. Allow me to share with you then my stories of struggles and successes with this presentation that I summarized with the abbreviation Learn at Home. L, in everything, infuse love. We have two daughters, as mentioned by Mom Shins a while ago. One is 9-year-old, a regular school kid, grade 3 pupil of Albay Central School, and she is currently enrolled in an online class. Our eldest is 12 years old, a learner with special educational needs because of her autism, and she is enrolled in a modular class at Rawis Elementary School, Legazpi City Division SPED Center. From the very start of this new normal, even before classes commenced, we were already apprehensive because we knew how chaotic things will be. We were concerned with the likelihood of facing hectic schedule upon the opening of classes, since I am also working as a teacher and my husband has to keep the small family business operating. What has kept us going all this time is acceptance of the situation, respect of each other's varied personalities, and love, love, and love. You see, we need to accept our frailties as parents, but at the same time, acknowledge the special task we have at hand. In tough times like this, things become complicated in a family when a member has special needs. It helps to have a cheerful disposition and profound affection and empathy. There is this beautiful composition from an unknown author that serves as a guide to us whenever we feel dismayed. And may I share this with you? The child yet unborn spoke with the Father. Lord, how will I survive in the world? I will not be like other children. My walk may be slower, my speech hard to understand. I may look different. What will become of me? The Lord replied to the child, my precious one, have no fear. I will give you exceptional parents. They will love you because you're special, not in spite of it. Though your path through life may be difficult, your reward will be great. You have been blessed with a special ability to love, and those whose lives you touch will be blessed because you're special. The love we have for each other as a couple and for our children allow us to embrace positivity in the midst of the health crisis. At this point, let us hear from Teacher Beth on her notion on how a parent's perspective contributes to, as the family face the challenges of home-based learning in the midst of the pandemic.
Hello, good morning.
Teacher Beth.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, with the home-based schooling, the parents are expected to take an active role, including assigning roles to the family members. So it includes modifying the environment, like creating effective learning environments. So for example, your child should have a study corner, especially made for their home-based learning. So the parents are parang obliged then to have structured activities at home or organize a daily schedule of activities for your child from the time he wakes up until he goes to bed at night. So in relation to the family with special child who may also have home-based school learning or home program, usually a concerned parent recognizes the importance of family members, especially the siblings. Okay, so in rendering intervention for their special brother or sister. So the parent involves each member or sibling in a particular task. For example, playing with a special brother or sister, tutoring him or her, teaching him specific chores. So kailangan meron coordination and effort of all family members in the best interest of the special brother or sister. So the parents and family member need also to commit their time,
Yeah.
effort, material resources, and most especially unconditional love in caring for their special child today and in the future. So it's more on parang kailangan yung may family involvement
Yeah.
this time. Okay, so very important yung mga roles na yan binibigay to each family members.
Yes, teacher Pet. Thank you for that. Yes, and I agree that there should be an unconditional love that should exist not only in one of the members of the family but all of them, in order to ensure that all these things that we expect to do or are expected to do should be accomplished. Tama po ba, Teacher Pet?
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Teacher Pet.
Thank you.
So we go now to the next. So sabi nga ni Teacher Pet kanina, we need to commit time. And so because of that, there is also a need for all members of the family to be energized, to keep on being positive. So never set aside time to energize. That would be my letter E. To help preserve our optimistic stance amidst the pandemic, we need to continuously cultivate energy among ourselves. Naturally, there comes a point in the course of this quarantine when we feel that comforts of our home don't feel comfortable anymore. Children are restless. Regular kids miss their classmates, their school, Sunday family bondings in the mall or anywhere but their homes. For practical reasons, we also transferred our youngest to a public school. This made her literally sad, but we made her understand that there is a different situation happening in the world and that certain decisions should be made so that we can handle things better as a family. We let her see what's happening in the locality and around the world and show her through example that we take this pandemic seriously. In short, we share to her our plans without shutting her ideas and emotions. Our 9-year-old now perceives COVID 19 as a serious threat, and she knows the fact that we need to keep ourselves safe. It is a different matter when it comes to our eldest. Zoe loves going out on Sundays. We actually don't know how, but she is aware of the passing of each day and she knows when it is her favorite Sunday. There were instances during the pandemic when she demanded, "It's Sunday, let's go to church, go to the mall, go to the playground." Sometimes she would demand, saying, "Let's go to the water park." And it was not that easy to make her understand why we cannot. During those times, her demands would turn into not only her tantrums, but to a family meltdown. So, even if my husband and I was trying to be positive, our children needed to be energized as well. How did we get through this? Okay. We energized the physical, mental, and spiritual beings of each member of the family. For Zane, our youngest, the birth of 4 puppies a few weeks before the lockdown was her source of joy, which also helped her develop a sense of responsibility. We also bought board games to alleviate her boredom. For Zoe, preparing nutritious foods in all its forms became a natural practice. Zoe, who loves food, found it uplifting whenever I get busy in the kitchen. For her, happiness and satisfaction is fullness of the stomach. We also bought art materials because we found it of great help for her. In both cases, time is a very important element for us parents. You see, our children could not play games on their own. It has to be with us for them to enjoy. And working in the kitchen requires a lot of time. This was quite easy during the first few months, but it became a hassle when classes already started. So good parenting necessitates involvement in some of our children's activities, but doing so takes much of our time. Mom Sai, how should a parent address this difficulty in managing the time so that being hands-on to the undertakings of our kids will still enable us to work and perform other tasks?
Okay. Hi, Karen. Hi, everyone. So,
Yes, Sai.
uh, both me and my husband were actually we are working parents.
Yes.
Yeah, but so what we did was first of all, we did discuss with all our children. By the way, I have 5 kids
Yeah.
with different dynamics, different unique personalities. So the first thing that we did was to do house rules. So it's very important that house rules need to be agreed and ensure that your children have a say in the house rules that you would want to implement in your house. So another one that we did is aside from the the schedule that we did for ourselves, we made them understand that we do have responsibilities at work, so there should be times that they need to do things on their own, and during those times they need to observe and be able to respect it. Yeah. So after that, I talked to my husband because I mean in the family as a teacher we know how much of work our occupation entails. And so I really requested from him that most of the time he should be the one helping with the kids, and he did agree with that. Okay, then the next one is when we were trying to build on the schedules, uh, we asked our children. I don't have a child with special needs, but I do teach children with special needs. So this is what I taught my parents. I taught them how to simplify the schedule. So first, simplify the schedules so that the child will be able to interact with it. That's the most important thing because schedules in the end will ensure independence and will help with predictability. Second one, the need to teach it. So simplify the language that you're using in terms of making your schedule. Ensure that everybody understands. So if I am to do a schedule for my child, all the rest of the family should be able to do it. So second one, I need to model. Third, so when you do your modeling, again, as much as possible, try to make it errorless. So meaning to say, do it right the first time that you are doing this schedule or you are doing something with your child. The third one is lead. So continue, make it consistent. It's quite difficult to be to ensure fidelity, but always try as much as possible to stick with a timetable. Then the third one is test whether your child is able to do it independently. So the true test is when your child is already interacting with the schedule, he knows what exactly are the things to be done. So another thing that we did was what do you call this? We built on routines when we were organizing times. So it was like a school hours for all our children, for all of our children. So they know exactly what they need to do in the morning, and we ensure that the mode is really school mode. So they have to bathe, they have to go through the routines just like what when they are going to school. And then we ask them to dress up. So they have not to be in school uniform, but something that they are comfortable with and would change their mindset. Because if you let them wear house clothes, it's a little bit different. So
Yes.
yeah, so even myself during that time, I would try to make up myself just to motivate me to work. Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. Okay.
Karen.
Thank you, Sai, for those insights. Kahit ako, may nakuha pa akong pwede kong gawin dun sa mga sinabi mo, no? Yes, it's really very important to come up with something that the family can follow through. And I agree with you that the house rules and all these schedules should be made not only by the parents, but the children in the house should also have a say in it. Thank you, Sai. I'll go back to you.
Just to add on, Karen,
Yeah.
just to add on,
Yes.
maybe for parents and teachers, ensure that the level of understanding in terms of reading the schedule is aligned with the child's comprehension level. So try to see where the child is at. So pag picture level pa lang, yun din yung schedule na gagawin natin. If it's words, just words, try to simplify the language. Otherwise, if you create a very difficult or a very complex schedule for your child, in the end, ikaw din yung gagawa eh. So, yeah. So, simplify. For me, it's really about simplifying things.
Yes, Sai. Thank you. I agree with you. And yun nga, sabi nga ni Sai, di ba, it's very important that everything should be organized and comprehensive to all members of the family. So that brings us to the next, which is letter A, putting things in array keeps weariness away. So kahit pa paano nawawala yung pagod pag meron tayong sinusundan. Making routine or following a schedule is very important. Exhaustion seem to be a concern to many parents nowadays. To address this, we have one practice which I'm going to share with you that we find helpful during this new normal time. Okay. So we learned this actually from our SPED teachers, most especially from Teacher Pet, who happened to be the first mentor of Zoe. Scheduling and establishing routines are things that parents with children in the autism spectrum know about. Halos karamihan po ng parents na may mga anak na autism, siguro merong ganitong ginagawa sa bahay. But I think this would also be useful to all, whether or not you have special children, if only to keep your sanity. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Sai kanina, kahit sila merong ginagawang house rules, may scheduling, and we do this with the help of our children. So I posted these pictures actually on Facebook days before the opening of classes in DepEd, and it has gained quite a number of positive reactions. My two daughters are readers. So yung sinasabi ni Ma'am Sai kanina na simplify, ganito yung ginagawa namin. Para sa amin, mas madali para kay Zoe yung mababasa. So we use words. So andyan po yung class programs ng dalawang bata. And as you can see, we have the schedule for each member of the family para masunod. Okay. Pag matagal na, medyo nafa-follow na yan. Sa umpisa, yun, titingnan nila yung schedule ng bawat isa. Then afterwards, sila na mismo yung sabi, bakit hindi pa tayo gumagawa nito? Yun. So, sila na yung magdidemand. Even Zoe. So, yan po ang nandyan sa scheduling namin. Ayan. But, actually po, may mga times na hindi din naman naka-follow yan. So, may mga problemang dumarating pag ganyan. Zoe needs supervision in performing her school tasks. This means that I need to fit her module time to my schedule. Although the routine set by the schedule we made helps, there are times when following it is not possible. This isn't good when it comes to Zoe because in order to establish routine, a regular time for a particular activity must be followed. Sometimes things get in the way, like our livelihood or our work which are essential, or else we will starve. So somehow, the momentum to answer the modules die down. This is quite frustrating, especially to the kid and also to us parents. In the case of our youngest daughter's online classes, although she can work on her own, I or my husband need to be near her during her virtual classes. Usually, she would seek for help when there is a need to translate a Bicol or Filipino term into English. Multitasking is so real and brain-wrecking, my dear friends. Imagine when you are in a Zoom or virtual meeting and then at the same time you are addressing concerns of your students online, then suddenly she would just blurt out or ask you, Mama, lawa is a body of water when it should mean spider. Bakit ganun, Mama? Yung lawa. Kasi mga forms of land and water, ganun. Or to give the meaning of a Bicol idiomatic expression. Mama, anong ibig sabihin ng kaputan mo ang dila mo? So sometimes when you are thinking too much, you would just give her back a blank stare. Natutulala ka na lang. It becomes expected, I guess, that when frustrations lead to agitation and anger, sometimes we do things that we regret afterwards. So, may I ask Teacher Pet, how are children affected when we parents cannot control our emotions? And how should we make up for it?
Okay. Usually, parents find themselves in a situation wherein their child is misbehaving, and the
Yes.
parents have to handle it somehow. So, kailangan you know how to handle that kind of situation. But it depends on how the parent shows their emotion towards their child. So, you might get angry, you get frustrated, or sometimes they use physical punishment. So sometimes yung physical punishment such as pagpalo or pag-spanking has drawbacks. So the punishment teaches fear. So halimbawa pag pinanish by the teacher, they may come in fear, they come to fear with the teacher, or they may try to avoid going to school.
Yes,
So
yes.
it causes children to become more aggressive, okay, and then prone to antisocial behavior or delinquency. So if they see their parents resort to spanking when they get angry or frustrated, so in turn they may act out this behavior when the child become angry or frustrated. So for example, yung bata when they because you spank or you pinalo mo yung bata when you are angry with her for her misbehavior. So the child might start hitting other friends when they, for example, when they don't share your toys. So as always, you have to go back and then address the behavior later when things are calmer. So pag halimbawa na andun na, nangyari na yung
Nagalit ka.
galit ka na. So you have to give yourself grace and go talk to your child and explain why you did this to her. So the parents should model what self-regulation or empathy is. So it takes parang self-analysis. Okay, you have the parents take a deep breath and think of what the consequences will be if you display that kind of emotion when you cannot control it, when you get frustrated.
When you get mad. Opo. And tama po, Teacher Pet, that the kids should also know that we feel sorry for the emotions that were uncontrolled. And
you have to explain also them why you did this to them, even though hindi sila nakapagsalita, but they can understand, they can feel your emotion also.
Yes.
So it's
Thank you for that, Teacher Pet. Okay. So, importante talaga na open ang communication natin sa mga bata, kahit na dun sa mga non-verbal. Kasi kailangang makita din nila yung, maintindihan nila kung ano yung mga nangyayari. Kahit sabi nga ni Teacher Pet, kahit hindi sila makapagsalita, they also have their emotions. And they learn by modeling. Sa atin din matututo yan. Halimbawa, mag-sorry. Sa atin din naman matututo yan. So let's move on to the next. Okay. Letter R. Set roles for each one to perform. We should know the makeup of each member of the family in order for this to be effective. In our case, my partnership with my husband always makes things easier and doable. I may be the teacher, but we share the responsibility of guiding our kids with their schoolwork. Our children also know whom to ask help from depending on the subject area of concern. Halimbawa, pagdating sa arts, hands-off ako. My husband takes the role of being our child's aid from buying the needed materials, setting up the workplace, and documenting the whole process. We also invoke the help of the knowledgeable others when necessary. As far as our family is concerned, the knowledgeable others for our two children include our children's lola, titos and titas, cousins, and fellow parents and friends. Whenever their grandmother is around, she involves herself in teaching the kids. This is so helpful for everyone. The girls are given the chance to develop their social skills. Lola, on the other hand, finds her self-worth in the process, which is so important for our elderlies. And we are in one way or another given a time off. Other than that, okay, teaching our daughters important life skills like washing the dishes is also important. So our children take on part of the responsibility of making our home safe and livable. Both our girls love helping in the kitchen. Simple tasks lang po, like preparing the malunggay, washing the dishes, mixing certain ingredients, setting the table. Those are just some of those given to them. This way, our burden of work is lightened and the kids learn as well. Also, when we seek for support, they come. We face the fact that raising a child with autism is not going to be smooth sailing. Our advocacy of raising awareness about the disability is one way for us to help build a community where children like Zoe will be accepted and appreciated. And we started this acceptance at home. So siblings who may be younger than our special children play a vital role in our mission as their parents. During this pandemic, Zane, our youngest, is our biggest source of help when it comes to attending to the needs of her Ate Zoe. She plays the role of Ate's knowledgeable other in her school tasks. So nakatulong po ng maigi si Zane at nakuha niya na yon bilang parang role niya din yon na maging knowledgeable other para kay Zoe. Ma'am Sai, I guess you have mentioned this a while ago, but perhaps you can emphasize on this based on your experience and in the context of this home-based modality of learning. Is it essential that roles are set to each member of the family or household?
Karen. Yeah, it is very important that there is clarity in the roles and responsibilities in every family members. Because remember, we have different dynamics.
Yes.
And everyone is unique. So I think the first, for us, we became more self-aware of our needs. And I would always tell my children of my challenges. And I think it is always good. I mean, if you have kids who are in the mainstream, it is easier for them to understand and be more aware of your needs. But for children with autism, it may be a little bit difficult. So the need to communicate also how you feel and when mommy is unable to help or daddy is unable to help should also be told to them. Yeah. So, but again, make it very simple and like what I have been emphasizing, ensure that there is always a time for everybody. So usually in the family, they know who to go to when they need help, when I am unable to do so. Okay, another one is what do you call this? Aside from the clarity of rules, try also to be a little bit flexible.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's already difficult, so don't make life more difficult.
Difficult.
Yeah. So if things are not done to what you expect them to be, that's fine. And yes, and accept that, you know, we are human beings. We are capable of making mistakes. But I think what's more important is at the end of the day, you try to reflect and try to work on those mistakes that you have done, and try to explain why you have done certain things. If
Those
not,
things.
just let it be. But
Yes.
if it's beyond our control, it's really beyond our control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yes, Ma'am Sai. Opo. It's really very important to communicate with the kids. Just for example, right now I'm online. Andito ako. Maliit lang ang bahay namin. Andun sila nakakulong sa kwarto para hindi makadisturbo. And sila na yun sa kanila because we have oriented them beforehand since last week, si Zoe, na, uy, pag Thursday, March 4, dapat ganito tayo itong gagawin. And I'm quite lucky and blessed because my husband is very supportive. Yun din yung role na tinitake niya. Na pag ganitong importante na kailangan kong umere, dapat yung mga bata, talagang siya yung in charge doon. At the same time, yung mga bata, nasanay na rin sila na gano'n during this home-based learning that we have. And yun po, tingnan nyo, yung sunod na sasabihin ko. Sabi ni Ma'am Sai, maging flexible tayo. And it helps to acknowledge the fact that norms or standards are not constant. Things do not always work as planned. There are sometimes flops. Fiascos happen, and we are faced with messes everywhere. Parenting can be stressful, and missteps are a natural part of child rearing. This is so true not only because we have a pandemic. So we should sometimes tell ourselves that it's okay not to be okay. Helping our kids in their schoolwork during these unfortunate times is not the only thing that parents are concerned about. More than anything, our mind is occupied with the more pressing concerns on how our family can survive other than their schoolwork. Siyempre, may mga instances na uunahin mo yung makakain sa mesa bago mapasagutan ang mga modules na kailangan ng ipasa. Minsan, tayong parents o guardians na rin yung nadidepress. And before we know it, everything would seem to be a failure. When that happens to me, I stop, I take some time off. I give myself a me time. Para sa akin, effective yung I ponder, I reflect, I sing with Smule, I blog, I pray, and then I prioritize the things to be done. Teacher Pet, what advice do you give the parents when they tell you that they feel like they fail or they are depressed in managing their roles, especially during this time of health crisis?
I think reaching out for help is a vital step in providing support and information needed in understanding and helping the child best. So there are trained and qualified professionals like SPED teachers and therapists who will assist the parents to plan and implement collaboration with other service givers. So these will be your partners in setting and achieving intervention goals for your child. So another one is letting the parent joining a group of parents.
That's correct.
Like you have special children, so interaction and exchange of ideas, feelings,
very helpful.
Concerns with them, provide both needed emotional support and helpful inputs on the education and rearing of your child. So at the end of the day, if you have overcome and somehow managed this kind of challenges, the parents must, parang mas nagiging open and mature to talk about their
Yes.
child and the circumstances that have helped them define themselves as parent and a person. So the person, therefore, or the parent, inspire others that having and bringing up a special child can become a testimony na the man's capacity to accept, love, and care for another human being. So parang pag na-overcome na ng parents to, you become a testimony to others and inspire other parents na
That's true.
experience this kind of mga
Challenges, difficulties.
so parang, you become more mature
Yes.
and acceptance to reality.
And you become an advocate for these children. You become a real voice for these children. Yes. Thank you, Teacher Pat, for that. So it's important that we keep ourselves healthy, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So that leads us to the next H, develop health consciousness. So aside from those mentioned about our mental health and uh, how we cope up with the stress and difficulties that we face uh, amidst the pandemic, it is in our intent of balancing everything, sometimes we forget the threat in our midst. It is important that all members of the family are well and healthy to keep us happy. And I'm talking about the physical health here. So, where else is the best venue for our children to learn about health but in the home? Once, my brother treated the kids and we went out. Since Zoe isn't used to wear mask, we knew it would be challenging. So a day before going out, we oriented her already by showing the things that we are going to bring along. That includes the masks, face shields, alcohol, etc. Even if she seems not to listen, we still told her about how important it is to wear or use them. Nung nasa labas na kami, well, since di nga siya sanay, paulit-ulit niyang tinatanggal yung face mask niya. So pag ganyan, wala namang ibang paraan or pwedeng gawin, kundi ibinabalik sa kanya, sabay sabi na di niya dapat tanggalin yon. Patience works. They get used to something we firmly ask them to do. At this point, may we hear from Ma'am Sai. Singapore has face-to-face or in-person classes amidst the pandemic. We know how disciplined the country Singapore is. Perhaps we could learn more tips on how they impose discipline among the children. Ma'am Sai, how are the kids made to follow the proper health protocols? And what are the tips that you can give us parents in making our special children observe them?
Yeah, so usually it's where itong pagsusuot ng mask, it is a new thing and it can be difficult for students with special needs. Yeah, so what we did was we created a lot of social narratives for them. The importance of wearing mask, why do we need to wear it, how should you wear it, when and where are you supposed to wear it. So we did it several times with them. We have to send copies to parents. We have to practice with the children. And dito naman sa Singapore, Karen, students with special needs are actually not required to wear masks.
Okay.
Although they are encouraged, and you would be surprised once they are trained. They are the ones actually who will really follow through.
Yes.
So, yeah, another thing that we did is create it in a, how do I say it? Do it in a more creative way. So we started with them just putting on mask on their eyes.
Eyes.
And we started it on the mouth. And and after that, we created masks for them. So you can, as a family, you can do it as a bonding activity. Draw masks, create their own masks, and start with something that is easy for them to do. You can always search for things on how to do it. So another thing that we did, those students with issues, so especially with sensory issues, I think Teacher Pet knows about it, that especially students with autism, they may sometimes be tactile defensive, so they wouldn't want certain textures on their faces. Yeah, so we are quite lucky here to have allied professionals. So we have OTs and SLTs, so the occupational therapists and speech and language therapists to help them through this process. But I think what's most important is to also educate parents and help them to go about with these challenges. So weeks before the students came in, we have already sent all the resources. Yeah, so another thing that we are quite lucky is we are provided with really good resources from the government.
Yeah.
So it has helped quite a lot. Yeah. Even hand washing. So all these things needs to be practiced. So maybe for children who doesn't want to wash their hands, you can start with just playing. You start with what do you call this? For us, I started with shaving creams, with something that they enjoyed, so that they know that, oh, okay, something is in my hand. I need to go to the sink to wash. And then we did a very simplified visual supports on how to go about hand washing. So yeah, so very basic again. Simple words, practice with your child, check whether they understand. So always check for understanding when you are teaching your children. And how do you do it when your child is able to show it to you? So that's the most important thing. Whatever instructions you are giving to your children and they're able to show it, it may not be 100% all the time, but certain parts of it, that they understand about all these protocols. Yeah.
Listening to you makes me feel like the Philippines still has a long way to go in terms of SPED. but then comes the time when we will have the transition period from home base to face-to-face or in-person classes. Perhaps we can still ask for your help, Ma'am Sai, in training, especially the parents, to prepare the kids. Perhaps siguro ma-invite pa rin namin kayo ni Teacher Pet for that. Para yung pag nag-transition na from home base.
Yes, so transition is very important. Otherwise, students who are unable to transit it can lead to meltdown. It can lead to stress to parents. Yeah, so as much as possible, make it a very smooth transition for your children. Don't force it. Don't force it. I think I would encourage parents to help you with your children. Do it first, to understand the challenges. So usually this is what I would tell my teachers. If you are able to do it errorlessly, that's a time that you are able to also teach this properly.
Thank you for that, Sai. Dami nating natututunan dito. Okay. So, let's go on. Okay. Generally speaking, if there's one thing that has evolved in parents of special needs children, it is the thought that one achievement, no matter how simple, is enough to celebrate. Kahit yung example na sinasabi ni Ma'am Sai kanina on encouraging or teaching our children of doing things on health protocols, for example, kapag nagawa nila yun, at sa kanila na nanggaling, it's one big achievement that we should celebrate as parents. Sabi nga dito, All these other moms are talking about honor roll, dance recital, softball games, gymnastic meets, and I'm sitting here like, woo, she tried a new food, and her socks didn't bother her. You see, the simplicity of our thoughts makes us take pleasure in modest achievements like being able to eat vegetables, taking initiative in doing their tasks, being able to converse with us, and that is true to both our children. Even posing for the camera while following our prompts is already a very big achievement for us. And we celebrate these small successes by giving them positive feedbacks, expressing our admiration, and at times giving them rewards like pizza. I guess this is an example of practicing positive discipline with our children. What is your thoughts about this, Teacher Beth, on positive discipline?
Okay. I think one example of the positive discipline shown by Mom Karina with Zoe is what we call the positive reinforcement, meaning rewarding of good behaviors. So positive reinforcement may come in different ways. It could be consumable, it could be through food, candies, cookies, chips, and then social praises. So in social praises, we have to be specific with your praises. For example, hindi lang all the time is very good job, excellent. You have to specify behavior that the child display. For example, I love how you shared the toy with your brother. Thank you so much. So there are also kinds of different, like giving them privileges. So you have the child to participate in age-appropriate tasks that the child like most, like playing with the favorite toys. So yeah, and then if we have to address the inappropriate behavior, you may use contract setting. So for example, if the child can understand my instructions already, so you have to talk to your child and make conditions, consequences when requested task is done properly. So for example, yun nga, it's like setting rules. Nakasama yung bata in making rules inside the classroom or in the house. Okay? So another one to address the child's great behavior is the negative reinforcement, meaning you gradually remove mga child's wanted materials or activities if inappropriate behavior is elicited. So for there are also mga behavior modification techniques that you can apply. So, for example, how you give instructions to your child. So, even the environment, how you modify it so that the child will have good attention. Okay, so when giving instructions, you have to refrain from asking a child a barrage of questions and giving multiple commands. So yeah, and then I think the psychologists and parenting experts favor reinforcement over punishment. So they recommend that you catch your child doing something good and reward her for it, but immediately you reward it for the good behavior that she displayed. So catching your child behaving the way you want and praising them for this behavior. So I think mga yun nga, small achievements, mga ano, is a great ano na siya, part of rewarding the child for the behavior. So I think when we discipline a child, it's not to be punitive or puro punishment. So it help them to become the best version of themselves. So I think kumbaga, the parents should be consent in giving rewards or feedbacks to the child. So kailangan maging consistent kung halimbawa sa bahay, kung si daddy at si mommy hindi pwede, consistent din dapat sa family members. So yun.
Ayun. Okay, so the more apt term to use would be positive or negative reinforcement, and they should come as depending on the situation, Teacher Beth. Thank you for your inputs. Okay, so the next one would be letter M, incessantly motivate and inspire. I am going to share with you some ways of motivating our kids so as to keep their momentum on learning. Okay. Gadgets are vital in this information age. We cannot deprive them of using something that is already essential nowadays. Management of it or of its use is the matter of concern. So, during their gadget time, we inspire them to maximize its use, especially on providing them learning. For example, when Zane tells me something she reads about from a source, like out of nowhere, she will blurt out something like, "Mama, do you know that Signet is a baby swan? I learned it from Google." I show her I appreciate her resourcefulness and make the topic a springboard for a learning discussion between us. So I don't just let it pass. Of course, I would also tell her to open up to me about things she discovers in the internet. That way, I am able to regulate. So, encouraging and inspiring our partners and keeping our bond tight for our family is also very helpful. Okay. Simple gestures of encouragement also help. Um, when during the first or 2 days of her classes, my youngest was tasked to introduce herself in Bicol. Bicol is her Waterloo. So she was really very anxious about speaking, even speaking in front of the class, even online. So ang ginawa namin talagang nagising kami ng maaga, prepare na namin yung ano niya, yung lugar kung saan siya mag-online class. And then we posted this, sinabihan namin ng good luck and all. Because in a way, this encouraged them to go on, and this makes them inspired. May we be reminded that it is us parents who help them build self-esteem and eventually make them believe that they can. Wilma Rudolph was an American sprinter who was born sickly and had a brace on her left leg. She shared this, and I quote, "My doctors told me I would never walk again. My mother told me I would. I believed my mother." Her story is only one of the amazing successes of people which can be attributed to their self-confidence developed at home. Self-confidence leads to independence. Again, this was mentioned a while ago by Ma'am Sai. Importante yung ma-build yung independence ng mga bata. Siguro po dahil teacher ako o siguro dahil gusto naming mas matuto sila, hindi namin ginagawa ang kanilang mga modules or assignments. We guide them, yes. We make them feel we are with them, but the thinking and studying must be theirs to perform. Sometimes it takes time. Hindi kami agad-agad nakakasubmit ng modules, pero happy kami kasi sila yung gumagawa on their own pace talaga. In the light of this home-based learning, sometimes parents find it easier to answer the modules themselves. Nakikita natin yan sa social media. Can you enlighten our viewers or participants about the importance of establishing independence among our students, most especially in performing their school tasks? Ma'am Sai?
Ako ba muna? Okay. Ako kasi, Karen, hindi ko talaga masasagot lalo na pagdating sa math dito sa Singapore. So pag ako ang sumagot, talagang mali. So, ito yung advice ko sa parents. It's okay to make mistakes kasi ito yung gauge actually para sa mga guro na hindi naiintindihan ng bata yung content ng inaaral nila. So, pwede kayong magbigay ng feedback. Huwag mahihiyang magtanong. Ako, I would really tell my children's parents, I don't know how to go about it, especially when it comes to models and doing their homework in maths and sciences. So, I would always communicate with my child's teachers but do it in a very respectful way. So usually what I would do, I would ask them whether they have time for me. Second, I would ask them on tips on how to go about it. And thirdly, I am very honest with them. I would tell them, okay, I don't know how to help my child. Can you send us more strategies for him to be able to do it independently? So ako, bilang magulang, bilang guro, although I have expectations for my children and for my students, I also would like to see very realistic expectations. So don't compare what your child can do with all the rest. Remember, our children are unique, they have their strengths. And I think most importantly at this time of pandemic, find strength in your child, not in the needs. Kasi pag ang nakikita mo ay, if you see strengths, you become more aspirational, you become more positive in your language, you become more positive in your actions, in your behaviors, and this lead to better things, better relationship. Yeah.
Yes, Monsai. Teacher Pet?
Okay, so I think one way to establish independence among children is allowing the child to choose activities or giving them choices. So pag may freedom siya na makapag-choose kung ano yung gusto niya, it will foster self-reliance. Okay, so yung importance naman ng independence is yung it increases the chances na maging creative and intellectually creative yung mga bata. So they have motivation and confidence if you will be able to develop confidence, independence among children. But in relation to children with special needs, I think the parents have a great responsibility to ensure that the child is equipped with the functional and helpful knowledge, skills, mga competencies not only needed now but also in the future. So para maging less dependent or reliant on others for help. As the child grows along the way, the parents are still there to guide the child to be independent in some tasks that they need to perform. So for example, in their self-care, okay, with their academics. So, andun pa rin yung natin, yung mga as parents to be their guide along the way.
So we are just there to be their guide, and at the same time siguro, if I may add, yung pagiging open natin sa situation, dapat nakikita din natin kasi nga para makita natin because it's through their independence that we are able to see where their strengths are. Diba, Ma'am Sai and Teacher Pet?
Yes.
So it's really very important that we allow them to work on something on their own. Andun tayo as guide, but still, andun dapat makikita natin yung independence nila or self-reliance nila. And if I may go back to what Ma'am Sai said a while ago, it would help if we have established connections and cultivated relationships with not only the teachers, but also the parents, our fellow parents. So actually, my messenger is full of group chats, those connected with workmates, my students, the parents of my students, my clients, friends, and also the group chats for parents in the two schools where my kids attended. And if I'm not mistaken, if I remember it right, Mom, Teacher Pet also said something about joining a group of parents or how do you call it? Yes, parents of children with special needs. In a way, it boosts our energy, and we make it a point that we don't only use the groups for our sake, like getting info and updates from. Also important for us is to share our knowledge, our insights with our parents. Extending help and empathizing with one another keeps us together despite the physical distance. After all, More than anything in this world is our relationship with God and man, if only to make us continue to live, laugh, and love. So to conclude my sharing, allow me to read a composition written by Anne Quindlen. The biggest mistake I made as a person is the one that most of us make. I did not live in the moment enough. This is particularly clear now that the moment is gone, captured only in photographs. There is one picture of my three children sitting in the grass on a quilt in the shadow of the swing set on a summer day, ages 6, 4, and 1. And I wish I could remember what we ate and what we talked about, and how they sounded, and how they looked when they slept that night. I wish I had not been in such a hurry to get on to the next thing: dinner, bath, book, bed. I wish I had treasured the doing a little more and the getting it done a little less. With that, may I ask our guest participants to give their short messages before we go to the open forum? Ma'am Sai? Or Teacher Pet?
Sorry,
Sai.
Karen, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I am learning a lot. I know the challenges that we are facing as a parent with a special needs child. Ako siguro tatlo lang yung aking parting words. So una, build positive relationship. So the first R is really about a relationship. Kasi malaking tulong kung sa bahay sa bahay mismo maayos yung pagsasama niyo. So it is very important to be very self-aware and also to be aware of your needs, your partner's needs, your children's needs, for you to be able to work on it. Okay, second one, so not only the needs. I think what we need right now is really look at each individual's strengths. Yeah, so instead of looking at the very negative side of it, try to work on the positives. Second one is routine. So as early as ensure that routines are built when they are still very young, as this will really help your children to be more self-reliant, to be more self-reliant, to be independent. And the third one is resilience. Build resilience with your children, with yourself, and this will help in a lot of ways. It's not easy to be resilient at this time, but I think as much as possible, try to work on it. And again, just enjoy each other's time. So
Yes.
Kaming pamilya, there are times that we do cook together. Yeah. So one thing na hindi namin tinanggal is meal time. So we have to be together and during meal times at least once a day, kasi I have my kids who are in the uni, so they have different timings. And then the second one is what do you call this? Yes, have your me time. And I think most of all, respect your another part of ours, dadagdag ko lang, respect your children with special needs. Know their needs, know their strengths, know what they want. Encourage them to have choices, like what Teacher Pet said. And because when we respect the child with special needs, we become more responsible and we think of safe ways to support them. I think the most important thing is supporting them in all the times. Yeah.
Thank you, Sai.
Salamat din, Karen.
Teacher Pet.
Okay, so I would like to impart this message for the parents with a special child or with special needs. So, parenting a child with special need requires care. So, I have also an acronym for CARE. C is for concern, A is for acceptance, R is responsibility, and E is education. So during these challenging times, so family involvement is very important. So as each family members have roles to fulfill in relation to home-based learning, so it's very important there's collaboration with the teachers and the school to help the child in the child's learning process. Okay, so I think home-based learning at home means that both parents and students have to make changes to continue learning. So these changes are not easy for everyone. So when it comes to changes with the parents, so the parents may have to take time off to supervise their children, or changes for children because they find it harder to study at home. And also for the teachers, they have less control over their classes and students. So however, these changes will keep us safe and continue to learn from each other during these challenging times. So especially to the parents with special need, it is time to monitor and evaluate your child's progress. So in partnership also with the professionals and seeking professional help and consulting with other concerned people who can help provide helpful information about your child's condition and intervention for him. Then finally, so another acronym for CARE, when parents with special needs, you have to require C, communication, A, action, R, reality, and E, envisioning. So thank you, and I hope you learn a lot from this webinar.
Thank you, Teacher Pet. Thank you, Mom Sai. Thank you, Teacher Pet.
Can I just add on?
Okay.
Ang nakalimutan natin is appreciation for teachers. So parents, yes, teachers have been working hard at this
so hard.
Pandemic. It is not easy. They also have their own family. I always make time to be grateful to them. So simple messages like saying thank you or how are you means a lot to these teachers. Yes. And as a parent myself also, as a teacher also, I would also appreciate. So appreciation should be two ways. Appreciate your parents for helping you. Parents, appreciate your teachers for helping your students.
Thank you for that, Ma'am Sai. Okay, so thank you, dear viewers and participants. I will now turn over the microphone to Ms. Sheena.
Yes, again, thank you so much to our resource person, Ma'am Karen, and to our guests, Teacher Pet and Ma'am Sai, for your heartwarming, engaging, and comprehensive discussion of the topic, and for the highly valuable insights shared to all of us. To recap, for the best practices to help our parents, we just need to remember the acronym LEARN at Home. L, infuse love. E, energize. A, put things in array. R, set roles. N, norms are not constant. Then we have H, develop health consciousness. O, one achievement is enough to celebrate. M, motivate and inspire. And E, establish connections and cultivate relationships. Of course, along with the R's and then the 3 R's and then the acronym CARE from our dear guests. So at this point, we come now to our Q&A session. May I again invite those who have questions to type them in the chat or comment section. So we currently have more than 300 viewers from the different FB pages tuned into in our webinar, coming from different parts of Albay, Bicol, and the Philippines. Also, for those who have joined us here in the Zoom meeting room, you may use the raised hand icon if you have any question during the Q&A, and I will recognize you. To get the ball rolling, allow me to start with a question we got from the previous session. So the question goes, what can we do when our child is antisocial? This is also related to some of the questions we got in our pre-registration about children being more focused on online games, TV, or social media. Or sometimes it causes addiction. So what can we do? So Mom Karen or our guests may want to answer the question.
I guess Teacher Pet can would be the best person to answer that.
Okay, so we have to be careful first on how we label antisocial behaviors. Kasi actually, ang antisocial behavior from medical term, if the child is being diagnosed, these are actions or that harm or lack consideration for well-being of others. So parang it's a behavior that is considered to be disruptive to others in the society. So siguro if the child is just they lack I mean antisocial doesn't mean they are not socializing with others. So it could be another term siguro, maybe the child lacks social skills, or maybe the child is have anxiety problems, so that's why hindi siya socialize. So I think what's important is the child will learn how to open up with the family. So I think the support of the family is very important. So you have to talk together on how to improve the situation. So you have to ask questions. You help your child brainstorm comfortable ways to make friends. So I think siguro more on how you could help the child learn to communicate more, express her emotions. Okay, so yun po.
Yes, thank you very much, Teacher Pet. And I do agree that we have to be very careful with labeling our children because the judgment may also hinder them communicating with us. And as mentioned by Teacher Pet, communication is really very important. And as parents and as family members, we really have to express our support. So do we have other responses to the question?
In relation to what Teacher Pet stated a while ago, it is also important for us parents to know what could be the cause of the the behavior of our children. Bakit ba sila nakukulong? Kasi we have to understand that this new normal is basically a very new experience for our kids. Marami ding nangyayari sa mga brains nila niya na baka hindi rin natin alam. So yes, I agree with Teacher Pet. There should be an open communication with the parents and the children. Importante pong ma-establish muna natin yung ano ba yung nangyayari sa mga utak nila. Makita natin yun at establish natin kung ano ang dapat nating gawing action. Yung care ni Teacher Pet.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So really need to find time to also check on our students, our children. That's really very important. So we have another question here. This is actually taken from our pre-registration. And this is also, I think, another pressing issue. So what should parents do to detect early symptoms of depression among teenagers and prevent them from committing suicide? So again, this may be one of the concerns of our parents. So how will we know if we really need to act, if there's a serious matter at hand?
Okay, again, I guess it will start again with knowing the cause or ano yung nagtitrigger if the child is experiencing depression, because I think this is a very sensitive issue. So I think they can seek help from psychologists or counselors to address this concern.
Yes, ma'am. So maybe we need really to ask help from specialists. From Sai, may we ask your thoughts about this concern?
Okay. Sa akin, importante na matutunan ng bata na maging self-aware sa emotional needs niya. So, yes, this takes time to really know about your feelings. So I think what's important here is you are able to give your children the right vocabulary when it comes to expressing their emotions. Second one, ibinabalik ko ulit ha, yung awareness. So paano natin magagawa yon? You need to communicate with your children. You need to be more observant. You need to take time to be with them. So siguro ang isang nabago with devices, naging hook tayo kahit magulang. So ako, one of the rules in the family is that when we are having meals, it's really having no gadgets at all. So it's about keeping gadgets and setting time so that you have enough time to talk to each other. So just checking on them, just asking them how they are feeling. So iba-iba rin ha, kasi yung mga batang maliliit, mas expressive sila. Yung mga batang medyo teenagers na, they want their own time. So we need to respect that. But I think it is good that we also know who their friends are. Encourage your children to talk about their friends. Encourage your children to engage in hobbies para hindi lahat gadgets. So to be very honest with you, my kids can only have gadgets once they go to high school. So walang gadget hanggang P6. Set time. Walang television within school days para alam nila na, okay, pag school days hindi ako pwede mag-TV, but on a weekend, Friday night, I really give them time to do everything that they want to do. They can sleep very late. They can do anything that they want. And I think another thing is be honest with your feelings. Kasi kung nakikita ng mga bata na ito yung nararamdaman mo, mas natututo sila at naiintindihan nila yun. At mas nagiging expressive din sila. So go back to really teaching them. Ito yung nararamdaman ko ngayon, pero I have ways to cope with it. Yeah, so that's how basically we do it. And I think important to always talk about it with your husband. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, Ma'am Sai. Indeed, I think we cannot overemphasize the importance of communication and knowing that our children may be at different developmental stages. So they have really different needs and ways of reaching out and coping. So we have to really be extra mindful of their needs, of the way they communicate with us.
Yes. So, Ma'am Sheena,
yes, Ma'am
as a teacher of junior high school students, it is also important for the parents to take on some cues very seriously. Ang isa siguro sa na nakikita ko pwedeng sign na depressed yung bata. Kapag nagsabi na yung teacher na yung anak mo parang hindi nagsasubmit ng mga outputs. Kasi bakit hindi nagsasubmit, diba? And in addressing that, we have to be firm, but at the same time gentle. Kasi ang tendency na ibang parents, papagalitan agad yung bata without knowing what causes. They may be depressed already without us knowing as parents. Kaya yun nga, balik ulit tayo, communication.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And I would like to take note of being firm but gentle.
Yeah.
So that's also showing them that we really care about them. And in the best interest of time, I think we will be able to entertain one last question.
There's
This is actually from
the
chat box in our Zoom meeting room from Sandra Casitas. Good morning. If a child throws a tantrum, how should it be addressed since punishment is not acceptable? Thank you for your comprehensive and animated discussion. Yes po.
Yan. Ako muna.
Yes, ma'am.
Para si Teacher Pet at saka si Ma'am Sai ang mag-affirm kung tama yung ginagawa. Hi, Ma'am daw, Ma'am Sans. Yes. yung former student. So, anyway, For the question of Mom Sans on tantrums, kami po natutunan yan. Kasi nga, galing din ako kay Teacher Pet eh. Kaya yung mga tinuro nila, yun ang ina-apply ko. So, hindi kasi tendency ng parents, lalo pag nagtatantrums sa mga bata, talagang mag-iinit din yung ulo mo eh. Lalo pag nasa labas. Lahat ng tao nakatingin na sa'yo, tapos nagtatantrum sa mall, for example, or kahit sa bahay at may ginagawa ka. May online teaching ka. Tapos biglang nagtantrums yung anak mo, nag-meltdown. Ayun. Ang pinaka-effective sa amin, yung ignore. You just ignore. Lalo na pag alam mo wala namang masyadong seryosong dahilan. Ignore it, but at the same time, we have to be very, dapat careful ka din at alam mo na safe yung bata at hindi niya sasaktan yung sarili niya. Yun po. Sila na yung bahalang tumugtong.
Yes, thank you so much, Monica. Now, can we hear from Teacher Pet?
Okay, so I think pinaka-importante when addressing behavioral problems such as tantrums is to know the cause. Ano yung nagpo-cause ng tantrums? Kasi we don't have to focus itself sa tantrums itself. Kasi kung alam natin kung ano yung nagpo-cause, walang mangyayaring tantrums. So I think yun nga, effective din talaga yung ignoring, letting the child parang express or mailabas niya yung tantrums niya until such time na yung bata is being calmed down. Okay, that's the time na you talk. Okay, you will know the cause, what causes tantrums. So yun, ang pinaka-basic talaga is you know kung ano yung nagpo-cause ng tantrums niya. That's what we call the antecedent. Kung ano yung what triggers the meltdown or the tantrums of the child. So I think if you know that one, so kailangan yung parents maging proactive. Paano ba natin to, kung alam nyo na yung bata, so ano yung mga dapat natin gawin. So if halimbawa yung cause is medyo gutom, okay, or if halimbawa hindi nabigay yung gusto, so ano yung mga behavior modification techniques ang pwede mong i-apply para at least ma-address yung pag-lessen ng tantrums or yung mag-occur yung mga tantrums.
Yes, thank you so much, Teacher Pet. Ma'am Sai?
Okay. Siguro kailangan muna natin i-define a little bit of differentiation between tantrum and meltdown. Kasi usually tantrum, alam ng bata kung ano yung nangyayari. So in a tantrum, the child is actually seeking for attention. At saka bata ang in charge ng kanyang behavior, ng kanyang actions, at alam niya. So, but when we talk about meltdown, hindi alam ng bata. He doesn't know safety. He's not looking for reactions. He's not looking for attention. And it's just an overload. So pwedeng overload ng sensory needs, overload ng stimuli. So kailangan matutunan natin ma-identify yung kaibahan ng tantrum at saka meltdown. So second one is profile your child. Profiling doesn't mean labeling, but it is about knowing more about what your child needs, what your child wants to do, what are their preferences. So for example, sa isang batang may autism, ayaw niya na masyadong maliwanag pagka nag-aaral kasi light also can cause some sensory overload. So understand the environment, structure it in such a way na mababawasan yung sabi nga ni Teacher Pet kanina, try to make accommodations, try to make modifications. So second one, as much as possible, we are trying it here, try to create an escalation chart para alam mo at certain stages kung ano yung nangyayari sa bata. So, but it takes time. So be observant on the triggers, be observant on the physical cues, on the facial cues that your child is showing. So like, for example, meron ako mga students, the mere twitching of their eyes, sometimes it shows distress. So kailangan kilalanin natin yung bata at alamin at at certain stages. So siguro ang pinaka-importante, lahat ng skills na gusto mong matutunan, teach it at the ready-to-learn stage. So don't ever teach it at the escalation or at the peak stage kasi walang mangyayari. So ensure that you know what to do exactly at these different stages. But what is most important is after each meltdown, bring back the dignity of the child. So punishment will not help. Understand what the causes are, reflect on your actions, and remember, children with autism, they have difficulty with communication, they have difficulty with interaction, and most of the time, actually, they are very intentional with their actions. Tayo ang hindi minsan nakakaintindi. So we need to know how kids are. Yeah, not easy. I've been here for almost 20 years. It's with new children, with new students intake, I really take time to know them. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much again to our resource person and our guests for your sharing both from expertise and experience. And I think that's it for our Q&A. We thank all of our participants, our viewers for your active engagement. We come now to the awarding of certificates to our resource person, guests, and participants. For this part, may I please call on Professor Rafael B. Buemia, the BUC Extension Coordinator.
Thank you, Ma'am Sheena. We will be awarding e-certificates, but we will try our very best to provide you with hard copies also. So the e-certificate was signed by our Dean. Though this is co-sponsored with the BUEMD, they said that since we were the ones who organized it, then we can just have it signed by our Dean. So first, let me award the certificate of commendation to our resource person, Professor Karina R. Altabano, for sharing her professional and technical expertise as resource person for session 4. Best practices of parents in home-based learning of the 4-part webinar series on home-based learning held on March 4, 2021 from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. via Zoom, signed by our Dean, Lorna N. So thank you very much, Ma'am Karen, for accepting our invitation as a resource person.
Thank you.
The same certificate of commendation will be awarded to the 2 guests who accepted our invitation, Ma'am Sarah D. Sacro, the Transition Planning Coordinator of APS and Katong School in Singapore. Sai, thank you very much for your wonderful shedding of light to issues related to special needs and learners with special educational needs.
Salamat din, Pops. Pwede palit body sa kapinangat instead of certificate.
Meron po. Don't worry. Matagal na po yun.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Also.
Okay. And then I have to apologize because there is some minor error for the certificate that we'll be awarding Teacher Pet. Nagkamali po ako sa name ng inyong school. Rehabilitation center ang nailagay ko instead of the other term.
Therapy.
We'll change this. Late ko na po natanggap yung correction kagabi. So sabi ko hindi ko na maihabol kay Ma'am Lorna yung e-certificate. But we will be changing this. So the certificate of commendation is also awarded to Ma'am Teresa Petra J. Reblora of Sunbeam Tutorial And nakalimutan ko nga ulit.
Therapy and Tutorial Center.
Opo, thank you, Ma'am Pet, for accepting our overload kasi yung information nang ginagawa ko po. Okay? And then last but not the least, I think, for those who are involved really, we have our moderator, Ma'am Maria Sheena A. Haushan. Ma'am Sheen, thank you very much for accepting also our invitation to moderate the session. Okay? Then to our very, very wonderful technical staff who has been with us since we started back in December. So 1 year na po siyang kasama namin in a way. So Sir Jerry Mel R. Bulawan, Mel, this is also yours. I will deliver the hard copy sa office niyo na lang, Mel. Ano po? Okay? You need not print this out. Kami na lang ang dadala ng hard copy dun mismo sa opisina. Thank you very much, Mel. I can say that we have really improved our session from session 1 up to the last because of you. Thank you, Mel. Okay? Then eventually, sorry ha, currently, blanco po yung pangalan nyo, pero lahat po yan malalagyan ng pangalan nyo based on the name that you have indicated in the post-session evaluation. Because I'm the one doing this individually, I will encode your name and then I will send it to your email. Meron pong mga email na mali, kaya bumabalik po siya. So in case po alam nyo na nag-accomplish ng post-session evaluation at for the next 3 weeks wala po kayong natatanggap na certificate, mangyari pong ipaalam po, i-contact po ako kahit sa Facebook po, private message, yun na yung pinakamadali. So I can send you your e-certificate. Currently, wala pa pong control number yung aming e-certificate, wala pa yung NAIAP number. This is for purposes doon sa public school. But I know that you can already make use of this as part of your professional development. Thank you very much for your participation. Okay? I leave with a big thank you. We will be closing this series home base, but preparing due to your answers to our 4 post-session evaluation, we are crafting a new series for the home-based learning. Yun pa rin po ang tutok, but this time we will try to address the request of our teachers. So we will be working on something related to strategies that you can make use while your learners are in their respective homes. Okay, just wait for that because our target is to be able to launch that by April, May, June, July maybe. Okay, so thank you very much for your participation and we look forward for future engagement with you. Good morning.
Thank you so much, Sir Pop, for all your effort and for the support to our extension activities. Again, our sincerest appreciation for your insights and participation this morning, dear participants and viewers. For sure, everyone learned a lot of new perspectives and lessons. We come now to the end of our webinar series, as mentioned by Sir Pop. As a last reminder, please accomplish the post-session evaluation through the link provided to you. We look forward to understanding your evaluation of today's webinar so that we can improve our future webinar sessions. Please be reminded that accomplishing the post-session evaluation is a requirement for you to be given a certificate of participation. Again, this has been Maria Sheena A. Haushan. On behalf of the team, we thank you all for attending this last session of the 4-part webinar series on homeschool team, parental involvement in home-based learning. Thank you also to everyone who has been with us since the first session on parental roles and home-based learning, perspectives and contexts. Then, in session 2, study habits and home-based learning, an enhancement program. And in the third session, helping children in home-based learning, a practical guide for the knowledgeable others. Please stay tuned for future webinars sponsored by the BU College of Education through the FB pages linked to our college and through the BU EMD FB page. We hope to see you all again. May we continue to work together to champion the cause of education in the new normal. God bless and keep safe.